أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف المرسلين سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. Today I would like to talk about Surat Al-Asr and have a brief reflection on it. Surat Al-Asr is one of the very crucial surahs. Actually, some of the scholars, they say if Surat Al-Asr was the only surah that was revealed to the Prophet ﷺ to give us a sense of the importance of being Muslims and worshipping Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, it will suffice. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala starts by swearing by Al-Asr. And again, this is a reflection, it's not so much tafsir. Of course, tafsir, Ibn Kathir and a lot of other mufassirin, they go in more details and they use the hadith and ayahs and all of that to have that tafsir. But today just it's going to be a reflection as usual, inshallah. So Al-Asr, loosely translated, it's time. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala swears by time in its fullest meaning. So what does that mean? First of all, before we even talk about that, I have to just mention something very brief that unfortunately a lot of people fail to understand. And that is the way that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala swears by His creation is not a permission for us to swear by the creations of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. What does that mean? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, for instance, He swears by the sun. He swears by the night. He swears by a lot. Fajr. He swears by the Fajr. He swears by a lot of His creation. He swears by the olives and the figs. He is the creator, so He has the full right to swear by His creation. And usually, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala swears by something, it's to actually emphasize something on it. It's a miracle or its importance or whatever Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala intends for it. But as the creation ourselves, we should only swear by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala swears by His names and by His creation. But for us, we cannot be swearing by the creation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We can only say, Wallahi, for instance. That is us saying, I swear by Allah. But you cannot say, I swear by the sun, or I swear by, some Arabs, for instance, they say, I swear by my dad's head. Or they use other things. So it's very important for us to understand that it's not halal, it's haram for us to actually swear by creation. So now moving forward into the word Al-Asr. Al-Asr here, in its fullest sense, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying by time. But also we could look at it and even have it more of like in a focused sense. For instance, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when He says by time, He is emphasizing the importance of it. Also, we could look at it at, for instance, at a civilization level. We actually, in Arabic, we have, for instance, the Golden Age, Al-Usur al-Dhahabiyya, or Al-Usur al-Qadima, the Old Ages. And these are the civilizations. So in a sense, subhanAllah, as if we could look at it and say, Allah is saying, by those times as well, like if you want to assess an entire civilization, they are in loss, because it says إِنَّ الْإِنسَانَ فِي خُسْرٍ. If you want to also narrow it down to your own age, meaning it doesn't matter whether you live 50, 60, 100 years, you are in loss. And then you take it and measure it to whatever you want to measure it, or even your minutes, this minute, an hour. If you are not in the other category, which we'll talk about, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, إِنَّ الْإِنسَانَ لَفِي خُسْرٍ إِلَّا, right? So we'll talk about that. But in a sense, you have to look at your time. Here in this country, we say time is money. Actually, in Islam, time is life, because it's the one that actually, the way how you spend it decides whether you're going to be among the losers or the winners. Okay, so that's just for that part, for Al-Asr. We could look at it from different lenses. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, here, when He's swearing, He's putting emphasis on it. So the first thing we have to understand is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is actually drawing our attention to the time, and it's important. It says, Wal-Asr, Innal insana. And here, Inna, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala uses it, it's adat akid. It's used to put emphasis, meaning indeed, verily, surely, al-insan here, in its general sense, mankind. All mankind, no exception. Lafi khusr, is in lost. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says لَفِي خُسْر. He didn't say la khasir, he says لَفِي خُسْر. What does that mean? We are in lost. And subhanAllah, sometimes when you are in something, you're surrounded, you're clouded, you cannot see outside. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala here, what he's saying to us is, we are inside that state of being lost. And all the situation that we're in, it's something that we're not even aware of most of the time. Meaning, we think we're doing good. Just take for example, sometimes, وَتَعَالَى اللَّهُ عَنِ الْأَمْثَالِ. We're not trying to compare Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to this, but sometimes we have to think at our own level. You are in a class, you have a teacher, the teacher has, the expectations for the class, and you're doing really bad in the class, but you're in denial. Like, you're doing so bad that you don't even know that you're doing so bad. And this actually happens, and sometimes when you see your grade and you're like, wow, I really didn't see that coming. So what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling us here, إِنَّ الْإِنسَانَ لَفِي خُسْرٍ, we are in so much lost that we're not even aware of it. And actually another ayah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, shall I not tell you about those who are the losers? And losers, أخسرين أعمال, like, even in their work, sometimes they say, like when somebody says, oh no, I did actually the classwork, or I did that, but you didn't do it right. You did not do it with the right intention. You did not use this right method. And you thought you were doing okay, and you're celebrating until you see the result. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying the same thing. There are those who think they are doing great, and they're among the winners, only to find out later that actually they are among the losers. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the other ayahs I mentioned, he says those are the ones who actually are in a state of kufr. They do not believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Okay, those are أخسرين أعمالا. So here Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, إِنَّ الْإِنسَانَ لَفِي خُسْرٍ. And actually when he puts the word insan, he puts it between two letters that actually put emphasis. Meaning, you look right and you look left, and you're surrounded by these two letters in Arabic that actually are used to put emphasis on things. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying, that is the state of every single person. Illa. And then he says illa, except. So how do we look at this first part and then the second part? The first part is a warning. The first part is a wake-up call to say, every single person is in lost. So we have to, in a way, be alarmed by that, be awakened, be on the alert and saying, subhanAllah, I don't want to be like that. I don't want to be among the losers. And here's the thing. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, إِنَّ الْإِنسَانَ فِي خُسْرٍ. Khusr here, it's in this life and the hereafter. And don't forget, no matter what life you're going to have here, if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala defines you as a loser, then you're lost. How many years you're going to live? If you're lost in this life and you are a loser in this life, then ultimately you're going to be a loser in the hereafter, and that is forever. So we have to make sure that when we read this surah, that we look at the first part and remind ourselves that if we do nothing, if we try not to wake up, if we try not to look and make sure that we are doing the right things, then we are in a state of loss. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, إِلَّا الَّذِينَ. Okay. Now, الَّذِينَ, here, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, except for those, and who are they? الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا. The ones who believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So you want to be saved? You don't want to be among the losers in this life and the hereafter? And remember, the losers in the hereafter, they have the wrath of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the anger of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They'll be in the hellfire forever. So you don't want to be amongst them. You cannot afford to be among the losers. None of us can afford to be among the losers. But unfortunately, a lot of people are among the losers. So when he says, إِلَّا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا, except for those who believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So does he stop there? No. So you have to be careful. Because a lot of people say, well, I'm a Muslim, and a Muslim here is a person who submits to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and follows the sunnah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Say, okay, that's enough. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala could have said, إِلَّا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا, and he could stop. But no, that's actually the first step. And Iman is the key to actually what comes after, because once you believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the next thing should be to follow His commands, to follow the orders of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So, إِلَّا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, إِلَّا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا, and here when it says آمَنُوا, the Iman of Allah, believing in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, has to be accompanied by the Iman, believing in His angels, believing in the books that were revealed, believing in the prophets that these books were revealed to, believing in the hereafter. Because remember, the whole thing is about this life and the hereafter. So if you do not believe in the hereafter, then what type of winners you want to be? You can't be a winner if there isn't a reward, right? And you don't want to work really hard to make sure that you're not among the losers if there is no consequences for that either. So you have to believe in that. So everything is tied together, and of course, Iman with Iman in the decree of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, qada al-qadr. So you have to believe in all these, but the first one you have to start with is Iman in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. إِلَّا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا وَعَمِلُوا الصَّالِحَاتِ. Okay, so the first condition is Iman. The second one is doing a salihat. So many people say, well, okay, I try to be a good person, I try to be the best. Here, that is a good thing, but what are a salihat? A salihat, they have to be in accordance to, again, the Quran and the Sunnah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. If you remember in Surat Al-Fatiha, and this is actually when you do reflection, you always try to, relate, go back and forth. In Surat Al-Fatiha, there are three groups, right? That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talks about, and we want to be among the first one. We do not want to be among the second or the third one, because the first ones are the ones that were guided by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Therefore, all of their deeds that are done according to the teachings of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and His prophets are going to be accepted, and they are among the salihat. As we know, for anything to be accepted, there are two main conditions. Niyyah, and in that there has to be al-ikhlas, niyyah meaning the intention, and in that intention has to be a sincere intention that is for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And the second one is al-ittiba', following the teachings of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So if you have, let's say you do something, okay, and you don't have the right intention, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will not accept it. Okay, so you do something good, but you do not have the right intention, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will not accept it. For instance, you give money to somebody, but you're not really giving it to please Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but more of to show off, to show people that, listen, I'm rich and I'm giving others. Now, did you do something good? Yes, on the surface it looks like you helped somebody, but the intention is not there. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will not accept it. So it's not going to be among the amal salih. Now, another example is, you could have a good intention, but you're doing something that actually haram. And you think that you're doing it because simply you have a good intention, that means it's something that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will accept. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will not accept it. If it's something haram, if it's something that violates the teachings of the Quran and the Sunnah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will not accept it. So here, الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا وَعَمِلُوا الصَّالِحَاتِ, عَمِلُوا الصَّالِحَاتِ, here you have to make sure that your salihat, again, fulfill these two conditions. The intention and ikhlas has to be there. Intention and sincerity has to be part of it. And ittiba', that is the following of, again, the teachings of the Prophet ﷺ, which of course he teaches from the Quran and the Sunnah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not stop there. So yes, okay, so you want to do good and all of that, but we live in a society, we live in a community. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says and reminds us that those things we need to also work together. We are created as a society. We're not created to be individuals independent of each other. So that's what Allah says, إِلَّا الَّذِينَ. It's like He's collecting all of us and saying, you want to be saved? Make sure that you keep a good company. You keep somebody who wants to also be a winner, right? So this is also a condition that we have to always remind ourselves. Look at your friends, look at your surroundings, and ask yourself this question. My best friend, or my good friend, what is their goal? Do they want to be among the winners, or do they want to be among the losers? Now, for you to find out, remember, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, by default, if you don't do anything, if you don't care, if you're just living life, then most likely you are among the losers. Okay? So that person has to be aware that the majority of mankind will be losers, and the exception is the few, and that person has to be really working towards that goal of being among the winners. That will be your friend, because that will be the person who will do this. What do? وَتَوَاصَوْا بِالْحَقِّ. And they remind each other of the truth. And of course, the truth, we know al-haqq is Islam and everything that falls within Islam. What does that mean? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling us that as an individual, Iman is a condition. That's a personal condition. Like that is like you. That's you at your personal level. But as you're doing that, there will be challenges. People will make fun of you. People will call you out. People will give you names, and you name it. That's why you need those that will actually support you. We have, the term peer pressure, right? Your friends will have influence on you. So make sure that you keep company with those who will have a positive influence on you, because there will always be a negative influence. So you're looking for positive influence. Unfortunately, we don't have a lot of positive influence in our lives. So you have to be working really hard to maintain that positive influence, and that is a friend, a family member, whoever it might be that can help you. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَتَوَاصَوْا بِالْحَقِّ. And wasiyah here, it's very interesting. Tawasaw, usually when we say wasiyah in Islam, it's a will. It's something that somebody leaves behind when they die. Like, they have money left behind, or they have some things that they want to leave for their family, so they write a will. And it's like that's the one thing that they leave for their family. So imagine this. It's like the one thing that you want to give somebody, to gift someone, and that is al-haqq, that is the truth, and that is Islam, and that is staying on the right path, that is Iman, everything that falls within. So you want to make sure that you are keeping that company, but most importantly, you want to be that type of company. You want to be the person that people want to hang out with, so they can actually be reminded of Allah. They could be reminded of the Sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ, and reminded of what is right and what is wrong. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, again, if you look at it, Iman first, doing that which is good, reminding each other of that which is the truth. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala even adds to it, He's saying, and that all will not be easy. So that's why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, تَوَاصَوْا بِالْحَقِّ وَتَوَاصَوْا بِالصَّبْرِ. So you remind each other of al-haqq. He could have said, وَتَوَاصَوْا بِالْحَقِّ وَالصَّبْرِ. He could have said, and they remind each other of the truth and of being patient. But he actually is saying, تَوَاصَوْا بِالْحَقِّ. They remind each other of being, of being on that right path, of the path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and all of that. And he says, as they're doing that, they also have to, on top of that, also remind each other to be patient, because it's not going to be easy. Now imagine you want to be an A student. A is not an easy grade to get. So you know that you have to keep working, and sometimes you want to give up because maybe you have a difficult assignment, you have a difficult essay to write, a test, whatever it might be. So you could be among the ones that are saying, hey guys, good grades are good, and okay, so that's great. But then you have to be among the patient ones to actually aim for that A. Some people just reminding each other, they might get, a C, but if they are patient and reminding each other of the reward, then they are more likely to actually achieve that A. So in Islam, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying, it's not easy. In a sense, not because Islam is hard. You have to understand, Islam is very easy. But what He's telling us is the society, people around us, make it look like it's hard. Okay, so this is very important for us to understand. Islam is a very easy religion. Very easy, very practical. You don't have challenges. As you're practicing, actually, it's the best way of life, because it focuses on us, our spiritual, our physical bodies. It's for us. It's like made for us. But unfortunately, society, people around us make it hard. So you have to actually understand that. That's why you look, there are people who actually, when they practice Islam, you see them like they're living a very peaceful life. They have no issues. They are, pleased with what they have, because they understood that the influence should not be coming from society when it's negative. It should be coming by those surrounding them, and of course their own iman. So we have to understand that it's those who are around us that might end up making Islam seem to be hard. But Islam, it's very easy, it's very practical for all times and all places. So this is something we have to remind ourselves. So in conclusion, what does this surah mean to us? This surah, again, like the scholar said, this is enough for us to actually fully understand what is our purpose in life. First, Allah is the one who created us, and He reminds us of something that we actually value, which is time. And He says, by that which you value, you are in lost, unless you are among the believers and those who do that which is good, again, according to the teaching of Islam, which of course includes Quran and Sunnah. And we have to be among the ones who are reminding each other of that which was mentioned earlier, which is, again, focusing and staying on the right path of Islam. And of course, reminding each other to be patient as we are doing this. And inshallah, we will be among the winners in this life and in the hereafter. Because once Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala writes us among the winners, we will be winners forever. And anything that I said which was right is from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Anything that I might have said that was wrong is from myself and shaitan. And I pray that this surah finds a very special place in your hearts. And most importantly, we pray that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will make us among those who will hear the words of admonition and follow them to the best of our ability. And may He make us among those who will be admitted into Jannat al-Firdaus with the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh.